Today on the table, we have a Colt Police Positive. So this is a small frame, double action revolver. It is a 6-shot, which I'll show you here, right there, and you can also see it's not loaded. They chambered these in 32 and 38 calibers. This one is a 38, and we'll go over that. It's not a 38 special. They also came in a 22 caliber. It was offered, but it was, these are mainly designed for state and federal use, and local law enforcement is when they came out with these. They were introduced in like around 1907, and then they made them into 1947. Now this one is from 1920, so here I can actually show you guys. You can see the serial number right there. So if you want to look it up, this is the 1920s model, and it is chambered in 38, so it's not a 38 special. It's a 6-shot of 38 new police, similar to like a 38 Smith & Wesson round. And like I said, you can get, a few people I think have commented on a video where I compared this to another pistol, that they have a few of the 32s, or a 3230, or I'm sorry, 3220 is what they had on that for theirs. But this one, like I said, is all original. It's got the original Bakelite rubber grips on it. You can see here, it's basically, they're in basic perfect condition. Whoever had it before me definitely took really good care of it. It does have the older style release for the cylinder as well. But what happened was this pistol came out because it was a improvement model over the new police revolver that they had, and that one, and this one has an internal hammer block safety. So that, a little bit of a difference in that. And then Colt named it the Positive Lock is what they called it. And then because of nomenclature and all that stuff, it just ended up becoming the Police Positive is why they ended up calling this. Now the other fun thing that they did too with this is that with this gun, so what happened is way back in the day, because Smith & Wesson obviously was making a ton of revolvers as well. Smith & Wesson revolvers, which I should go grab an older one, but when you cycle the cylinder on a Smith & Wesson revolver, they would go counterclockwise. And what Colt did was, when they developed this, they said, hey, we want, Smith & Wesson was counterclockwise, but Colt, they wanted to make one clockwise. So they developed where the cylinder, and they say it locks up better because it goes clockwise. But then what they did was they had a pretty funny advertisement where they would go out and their marketing department said that, it said they would advertise, it would say all Colt cylinders turn to the right. And that kind of suggests that, Colt designed, force the cylinder crane up against the frame, resulting in a tighter lock is what they're saying. And so what happened though is, because of that, just using that silly thing where their cylinders, rotate clockwise, these became very, very successful in sales. So they sold tons of these. The first issue of these, they ran from 1907 to 1927, and that's what this is. This is a first issue. This is a 1920. And then it had the standard hard rubber grips, which is what these are. Now they offered a couple different barrel lengths. There's a 2.5, and then you could also get a 4, a 5, and a 6. This is a 4. And then with the other, and on that first model, they only had it in a 32 long Colt, which also obviously you could do a 32 short Colt as well. And then there was a 32 Colt New Police, and then a 38 Colt New Police, which is what this is. And then you also could get walnut grips like you see on other ones, like the vest pockets and the 308s, or the model 1908s and the model 1903s, that right around 1923 or so, a little bit later, they started offering walnut grips on all of their other pistols as well. So you could find this with walnut grips after 1923. There is a second issue of it as well. So those came out from 1928 till the end, until 1947. And those are a little bit heavier of a frame. And they have a serrated top strap on them, just to help with it helps reduce the sight glare a little bit on there. But they also had obviously wood grips on them, and they were they had a couple different calibers as well. There was like special ones that they did, so they actually had that one in a 38 special. Those are a lot harder to find, so you couldn't find a little bit newer Police Positive in a 38 special. And then they also had a 3230 in a Winchester, and that was considered a special manufacturer of them as well, and a 22. Right now, I just saw one when I was looking earlier today. There's a 22 for sale, and I might get one. It might be kind of fun to have one of those as well. But yeah, and they came in, you know, it's carbon steel. Obviously, they almost all of them had this blue finish on them like this. But Al Capone, he actually had one in a nickel finish, and he had it in a 38 like this. And his had walnut grips with a nickel finish and a 4-inch barrel. And his was made in 1929. And it sold at auction, I can't remember what year, but for like 500,000 bucks. Or maybe 440, 480, somewhere in there. But obviously it sold for a big number. But anyways, I just want to show you, it is super cool. I mean, this one is, you know, there's almost no wiggle in the cylinder, and it's super tight when you're, I don't like the pin slamming back or the hammer slamming back, but you know, it's just a really tight, really, I mean, it's just crazy how old this is. It's 125 years old, or sorry, 105 years old, and it's in fantastic condition. But if you have any questions, or if you have one of these, even if you have the other calibers, you know, let me know. I'd be curious. I'm going to try to get a different one from a different year so I can compare just the two. Maybe I'll find the second version and we can see if it's, you know, just a little difference in the weight and then the size of the pistol as well. But thanks again. Remember, we have that promo going on. You know, if you have any questions, you know, make a comment on the video.